Do you know that saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words? There's another one that says a story is worth 1,000 pictures. How impactful is it when you can bring a story into your conversations with people? It is absolutely the way to uplevel your influence and frankly, your income in your sales conversations, whether you're talking to prospects or whether you're talking to existing clients. You are invited to the upcoming masterclass, Storytelling for Business. It's happening April 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. Now, in this workshop, you are going to get the framework for crafting your stories. You're going to learn which stories you need to be ready to tell. And in the workbook, you are going to have an opportunity to really kind of suss out your own stories. You might not think you have stories to tell yet, or maybe you're not sure which stories to tell when, but you're going to know that by the end of the 3 weeks. You're going to have a workbook packed full of notes and stories for you to bring into your conversations. We would love to have you come be with us. And here's a special link that's going to save you, my podcast listeners, $200 off the registration when you go and register right now, yoursalesmaven.com/storytelling. So registration is only open for a couple weeks. So go and register right now at yoursalesmaven.com/storytelling. We would love to have you in there with us. I'll see you soon.
Are you ready to boost your confidence when selling so you're able to close more deals? Nikki Rausch will show you how to build a foundation of skills and a mindset that creates sales success without feeling pushy or salesy and without fear of rejection. She is a sales strategist and coach with more than 25 years of sales experience and is master certified in neuro-linguistic programming. This is a radically different approach to selling. It's a no sleaze, no slime, and no stress approach to building your business. This is Sales Maven. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Rausch. Today's episode is one of the Mastering Excellence series. This is a concept that comes from my background in neuro-linguistic programming, where we learn that there is a structure to excellence. And once you understand the structure of how somebody gets exceptional results in a particular area of their life or business, you can start to implement that structure in your own life and business and see similar results. So I'm super excited. Today's guest is my longtime good friend, Nikki Closser. Now, if you haven't met Nikki yet, Nikki is a personal branding photographer and the host of a very successful The Portrait System podcast. In 2012, she began building a hugely successful business that not only afforded her to quit her job as a social worker, but she is now able to support her family and her travel obsession, which she definitely has. Nikki has photographed thousands of people over the years, including me, 5 different photo shoots that we've done. I'm just like totally messing up her bio by adding my own stuff in here, but she's done 5 photo shoots for me, plus photographed thousands of people, and is now a mentor to other photographers in with her own course, the Personal Branding System. Nikki currently lives in Michigan with her husband and her 2 young sons, where they split their time at their lake cottage and their home in the country. Nikki Closser, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, I am so happy to be here. This is a long time coming. So happy.
It is a long time. We have scheduled and rescheduled this. I don't even know how many times, 3 or 4, I think, right?
I know. Life gets crazy, doesn't it?
Life is crazy. Life is crazy. Well, I'm so excited to have you on the show and to get to have this discussion with you. The topic that we're going to focus on today is building a life and a business with multiple streams of income.
You know, I could talk about this all day long.
This is her passion, and she has been incredible. I feel like I have been able to be on the outskirts of your journey because I think our friendship started, was it in 2013 when we met at?
It was either 2012 or 2013.
Okay.
The Women's Show.
It had to have been 2013 because I wasn't there in 2012.
Okay. Then yeah.
Okay. So in 2013, I was helping my NLP teacher at the time, and she had a booth at this big show in the Seattle area called the Women's Show. And Nikki you had your first booth there, right? And it was,
Yes.
we were across the aisle from each other and there was a lot of downtime. And I just feel like it was fate. Like I only went and did that show just so you and I could become friends.
Honestly, I've said that before. Like I booked a couple photo shoots, but I've told people like through mentoring and that sort of thing, I'm like, something, you never know what's going to come out of it. I was like, I met Nikki Rausch, who has contributed to changing my life and growing my business immensely. And it wasn't about, I didn't know this at the time, but spending that money on that booth and being there wasn't about booking clients. It was about meeting you. I truly believe that.
Oh, I feel the same.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't the best experience for me with what I was going through with, with being in the booth and the whole thing and all that. But meeting you was like a life-changing moment. It was one of those like, oh my gosh. And I remember looking, you actually won an award for having like the most beautiful booth that year.
Yeah, I got a cake.
She did. She got a cake. And her booth was beautiful because it was filled with all of her photographs that she had taken of people. And at one point I even said to you, so you only photograph models.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, because you only photograph really beautiful women. And I think you said back to me,
I was like, no.
You were like, I do only photograph beautiful women. I photograph all women or something. It was like, I felt like, oh, I feel like she put me in my place here. Like you were really like standing in your place of authority, credibility, and saying like, this is who, like I photograph all women and all women are beautiful. Like it was just it's so you too.
I was like, no, I don't photograph models at all, actually.
And I think we ended up booking I booked my photo shoot with you at that because I was like, well, we'll see because I will be your biggest challenge because I will still claim this that I am, well, until Nikki, I will say, like, I am, what am I trying to say? Like photo challenged. Like, I don't feel like it's so hard to get a good picture of me. I can't get one. I don't know anybody else that can, except for you.
Like when you said that to me, you were like, well, I think you said that, like, I'm going to be your biggest challenge. And I was like, bring it on. I cannot wait to have you in front of my camera. And I think you said that day when you showed up, you were like, I kind of was hoping I would wake up sick. Yeah, and then I could cancel.
Yeah, that's true. I did not want to go. I almost was in tears, like coming. Also because I was like, because I loved you so much, like instantly I was like, I want to be friends with this person. And I didn't want you to be disappointed if you couldn't get a good shoot. Like if you couldn't get a good photo of me, like I didn't want to disappoint you. That was my thing. I was really worried about that. And of course, 5 photo shoots later, I know like you're so good at what you do. Like you bring out the very best photos. And of course it helps too that you do some editing, but you get the very best photos of me that anybody has ever taken, which is why I've done 5 photo shoots with you.
Oh, I love the photos of you. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're able to use them so much in your business. It makes me so happy.
Yeah. And I have told this story many times. I've written blog posts about it. One of the things that happened after my photo shoot with Nikki, I took these really beautiful photos that she had done of me and put them up on my website. And somebody who I knew kind of in my former career had reached out to me and said, wow, look how successful your business is. We should probably think about hiring you. And they did end up hiring me. And the only thing that changed were the photos on my website. Like those photos on my website ended up, I think that first year, it was like $10,000 in business from this client. Over the course of the years, now it's probably, I don't know, somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000 in business. And it was all because I had professional photos and updated them on my website. So I will always be the person that says, invest in photos, invest in having really high quality stuff that really shows you in your best light, because people make judgments about you and photos are a big one.
It's so true. Just branding photos and having more than one.
Yeah.
Having a variety of photos too. You're not the first client to tell me that they've made more money. Well, no, you were the first client to tell me that. But since you have told me that, other clients have said the same, that they have booked more clients themselves and made more money because of photos. It's remarkable. I love, love, love what I do. It's so awesome.
I have this really awesome client right now who said that she heard me on a podcast and then she went and watched like a video of me, and she hired me because she was like, she said something about me being really put together, that my jewelry and like my outfit and the way I show up on camera, which I know you know this as my friend, because we get together for lunch when we were living in the same area. Like that is not my norm. Like my go-to is not full makeup, full jewelry, full like, all the like hair, makeup, all that stuff. Like that's so not my jam, but it is from a business standpoint because it does attract my ideal client.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because honestly, most of the time that we hang out, you are very put together, and I'm like how I am now, in a hoodie with my hair on top of my head. But I feel like every time you always have a really important meeting or speaking engagement or something to go to after lunch. So you were always like, oh, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. Like I feel like your calendar was always so packed with all these amazing events.
Well, if I had something to do, which even like this morning, because it's early where I am, and it's kind of early where Nikki is too. And when I showed up, she was like, wait a minute, you're like full makeup. And I was like, I have to train right after this. That's the only reason.
I was like, I thought this wasn't going to be on video as I'm sitting in my hoodie in my closet.
And it's not going to be on video. Okay. Well, we're going to dive in because I am so interested to have this conversation. I think I started down this road that I feel like I've been on the outskirts of watching you build this business and life with multiple streams of income, which I don't necessarily think. I think when we first started our friendship, you had your photography business and there weren't all these other streams. Is that true?
Yes, that is correct. I was at that point that we met, I was still pretty significantly in debt, because when I was a social worker, I was barely scraping by. And when I moved from Michigan to Seattle, I had my master's degree in social. I guess I should say I don't use it anymore.
You do.
Technically.
You do have.
So, and I was making teacher salary at the master's level in Michigan. When I moved to Seattle, I took a $10,000 pay cut. Actually, it was more than that at the beginning because I couldn't find a job. So I was a teaching assistant, and I did that for, almost 2 years until I finally got a job as a school social worker there. And then, but in the meantime, I was just in debt. It was not good. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and so it was something that was the only income I had. I mean, aside from my husband, he was an electrician working for a company at the time, really not making much money either. So, yeah.
But I know because the one thing about our friendship is we speak very candidly with each other about money.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I really appreciate about you. Like I feel like I can always share those like really personal financial details with you. And I feel like you do the same with me.
Yes.
And so, so I have some insider information. I'm not going to reveal anything that you don't want revealed on the show, but, and so I know that through a lot of our discussions over time, you got really interested in like, you wanted these different ways of having money coming into your family and into your life, into your bank account. So will you, before we like dive into the questions, are you willing to share with people what are the different streams of income that you now have coming in? Now, keep in mind, as of 2013, this was not the case. Here we are in 2022. And are you willing to share a little bit about?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So it started with bringing income in through my photography business. That was where the majority or basically all, aside from my husband, of my income, once I built the business, that was my only income stream. And what I found is, as much as I love being a photographer and it is, brings me so much joy, you're still trading time for money.
Yeah.
when it comes to, doing photography. There's nothing passive about it. If I wasn't working, I wasn't making money, which is, a lot of us as entrepreneurs, or if you have a W-2 job, that's how it is.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, okay, so while I do love this, when I'm 60, and I'm 44 now, so just for reference, but when, back then in 2013, I was, obviously I was 35, 35, 36, something like that. I didn't want to be at 60 thinking I still have to be doing photo shoots in order to earn money. So I just started to try to think a little bit outside of the box as my business grew. So, gosh, it wasn't until 3 years ago, maybe. Do you remember when that, gosh, I wonder how long ago that was. Remember I asked for your opinion about doing the email templates and pricing and all of that?
Yeah. I feel like that was probably 2016. Maybe?
Oh, so that was that long ago.
I feel like it was a while ago. Yeah. I feel like it's probably been 5 years. It seems like it's been 5 years since you.
I think you're probably right. Yeah.
Okay. So that was your first thing, is you did this really awesome email template. Will you say what it is?
It's email templates for photographers, because, with rebuttals, and if someone says you're too expensive, how to respond. And, that's just, and I learned a lot of that language of in my email templates through you, which was great, from your trainings, which was so incredibly helpful.
Thank you.
I started with selling the email templates, and then I also added Lightroom presets. So if you're a photographer, you would probably have used or heard of Lightroom. It's an editing software through Adobe. And I saw wow, okay, this is really great. It wasn't a significantly huge amount of money, but I was like, okay, wow, I made, a couple $100 in my sleep last night, and it's passive.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved that feeling. And so then fast forward, I didn't really do any other sort of passive income streams or anything until 2020. 2020, obviously a lot changed in the world. Mm-hmm. And I started to get more serious about passive income. And that's when we started investing in real estate, commercial multifamily real estate. And then I also started teaching. So I started kind of putting together ideas for a course to share just everything I've learned over the 10 years that I had been a photographer. And so I put together a course. So now I've got the personal branding photography course, and I have the real estate income, and I don't do a whole lot of shoots. I take that back. I do shoots. I do photo shoots.
Yeah.
Just not as consistently. And it's not my, I'm not doing 10 photo shoots every month like I used to do. I do a couple.
Yeah.
So, and then I also have the podcast.
Right.
So I have the income from the photography podcast, the portrait system that I host.
Mm-hmm. So quite a few, but I feel like there was one piece in here before, you were the first person I ever knew that Airbnb'd her house.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I did do that as well.
And you guys did that because you had this goal to get you back to Michigan from Seattle. And, so you guys decided to buy a house in Michigan. And so when you were part-time in Michigan, you would Airbnb your house in Seattle. I loved that. I thought that was so smart, because it really allowed for you to have these two homes that you could go back and forth with, and not have to figure out how am I going to earn enough money to pay for two homes? You were doing it by Airbnb your house, right? With
two babies.
It
was, I think I might have blocked it out because it was hard. I'm not going to lie. We had a newborn and a 2-year-old, barely 2-year-old. He wasn't even 2 when Dre was born. Van wasn't even 2. So yes, we were doing that back and forth, but it was very lucrative. Yeah. It was very lucrative. So yes, we did do that for a while.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's dive into these questions. So now you get a sense of she has really done a great job of taking her skill set in photography and building some multiple streams of income. And then you've also had this real interest. I remember the first time you ever told me, I think I want to have real estate, and I want to have real estate that brings me money every single month, which I thought was super, super smart. And you are a great manifester, because these opportunities come to you and you jump on them and So she's got the real estate piece and she's got these multiple streams of income with the podcast as well. For what, like how this money is coming in. Okay. It's early in the morning. Can you tell I'm like stumbling over my words? Okay.
Oh, you're such an eloquent speaker.
Thank you. All right. So here's my first question. So if I was going to stand in for you for a day, so imagine me like stepping into your shoes, what would I have to do or think, or how would I be, or how would I have to behave in order to really think about building a life with multiple streams of income?
If you could see my face right now, I'm like, I don't even know.
That's what everybody does when I ask them this question. So
okay.
we just want your stream of consciousness, like let it run, let it flow.
You'd have to be really open-minded to chaos and going with the flow. You know, it's funny because I never hired an actual assistant in my business, except to help with the Airbnb, which was Melissa. You know Melissa very well.
My assistant. I've got two of my best people from you. So Melissa and Jamie. Melissa, oh my gosh, what a godsend. Yes. Okay. So be open-minded.
Okay. Be open-minded. I never hired an assistant because I wasn't sure how to even explain to someone what I do and how I do it. So I think this is why this question is quite difficult for me, because I don't have a lot of systems in place. Okay, I take that back. I probably do, but to an outsider, they might be like, what is even happening right now? Everything probably looks a little unorganized, but I have very clear goals in mind. I have determination, and I'm very confident in what I'm going to achieve. And I know some of those things sound pretty similar. So I consider myself to be an unorganized, kind of fly by the seat of my pants. But when it comes to the daily tasks and daily routines, I'm not very systematized. However, my mindset is very determined, and it's not like I don't fill my mind with, but what if this happens? But what if this doesn't work? And how am I going to make it all happen? I just know and I feel it's going to happen, and I'm just going to take it one step at a time. I don't know if I'm answering this question.
I think so. Yeah, keep going. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to say these things back to you. So I'd have to be, so I'm stepping in for you for a day. I need to be really open-minded. I'd need to have clear goals in mind. I would need to be determined and confident. And speaking to that a little bit is, and I want to please correct me because I'm adding some words here. Like, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time worrying about the what ifs.
Yes.
I'm just going to say, this is where I'm going and full speed ahead.
Yes. And prioritizing.
Okay.
There's a lot of prioritizing because often I am wearing multiple hats. I am looking at, okay, what do I need to do for the current real estate deal that I am syndicating or that I'm doing for just my own business? You know, what needs to happen for that right now? I am looking at, do I have any client emails to respond to? I am looking at what podcasts do I need to be prepping for? I mean, there are so many different, you have to be okay with jumping from one task to another because there isn't a whole lot of, okay, I'm only working on this today. I am working on multiple things per day. With a lot of downtime too. I'm a recovering workaholic, which I'm learning to relax and chill out and not be so I need to work all the time. So I don't want people to think that if you do have these multiple income streams that you have to be working all the time, because frankly, I work less now than I did when I was a full-time photographer.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, one of the things that I feel like I know about you, but again, please correct me if I'm wrong, is I feel like you are somebody who's very, very good at not like, you don't feel compelled to say yes when people ask you to do things or for things. You're pretty clear about, does this fit in my priority of like what I'm moving towards? And if not, I feel like you're pretty comfortable saying no to a lot of things.
Yes, that's true. I will say this did not happen until probably the last couple years, I would say. that I finally gave myself permission to really evaluate how I want to spend my time and valuing my time in a way that has now also spilled over to my success. And it's interesting hearing you say that, because I almost feel like it's corresponding to when my success really, really blossomed was when I was able to start doing that, to be able to just create those boundaries in my life and truly value my time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know now, and again, I have some insider information here, but through discussions that you've shared with me and through Voxers where we've talked about where people will like try to put things on your plate and you're really clear about that does not belong on my plate. That's not part of our agreement. And I wish you well and success, and go find somebody else to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is something I have gotten very good at over the last couple of years.
So you really, I think also you really speak up for yourself about what the agreements are. That term scope creep, where people start to like continue to like creep and get more and more and more from you.
Yes.
From an outsider's perspective and being your friend, I see that to be something you don't allow. There's not going to be scope creep with you.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And again, I will say this isn't something that this isn't how I've always been. And I have to give a huge amount of credit to my mentor, Sue Bryce, who really helped me work through self-value when it comes to, just, not having guilt and shame over wanting to be successful, and just allowing myself to feel as though I do deserve this sort of life that I thought only other people had, not me. That was for other people. And so that has been a huge part of it as well, is working on that self-value piece. To me, that has been just life-changing as well.
Yeah. So you have done a lot of work on mindset.
Yes.
Around that, about self-worth, value. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So my next question is, what specifically would I have to do to behave like you?
Okay. What specifically? Can I think about this for a second?
Yeah. Yeah.
There has to be some risk involved. It's a lot of people, and I'm not saying this is wrong or right or bad or good. A lot of people will stay in the same job for 30 years and retire from that job, even though it doesn't bring them joy. They may complain about it and not want to go to that job every day. They might live for the weekends, but they aren't kind of willing to take that risk and go through the scary, because when there's change, obviously it's scary and you have to work hard at whatever you're doing. When you're starting something new, there's hard work involved.
Yeah.
And I think something that, if you're going to have multiple streams of income, and if you're going to be an entrepreneur and all of these things, you have to be willing to take certain risks. But again, my mindset isn't that, oh, but what happens if I buy this apartment building and no one pays rent? That doesn't even cross my mind. It's not that I'm ignoring any sort of risks, right? But I'm always looking at some sort of exit strategy or what's next, or, I want to make sure I'm putting this in the right way, Nikki. Let me think about this. There's a certain level of risk that you have to be willing to take, but I hate even calling it risk, because in my mind, failure isn't really an option. But I think it's important not to be stupid about it. Like, I don't think that you should quit your job when you're just completely in debt and you don't have a plan. I mean, you definitely have to have a plan and at least have some learning and direction with where you're going, but you also have to be willing to take a risk. It's uncomfortable to leave a job that has so much security and, stable paycheck and health benefits and all of those things. But when you look at what the reward is, once you are on the other side of it, it's huge. So I guess it's just focusing on what you want and not what bad might happen, and be willing to just go for it. Gosh, I feel like I'm not making a whole lot of sense.
I love what you're saying. So this idea of like, be willing to take risks, be willing to kind of stay focused on what it is that you want. The other thing too, when you haven't said this, but I'm going to ask you about it, is my sense of you is that you have an abundance of trust in yourself, that regardless of what happens, you'll be okay.
Yes. Yes.
And
yes.
Like I also know from, discussions that we've had, you're not the kind of person who complains about something and then we get together again, a month later and you complain about the same thing. Like it will be, here's something that's going on for me. And the next month you'll be like, and here's my solution. Like, I think I remember one night over dinner, we were talking about this idea of moving back to Michigan, and there were some complications around it. And it was like a month, it was probably like the next month, you're like, we bought a house in Michigan. And I was like, there's a girl who doesn't there's no dust on her. Like she doesn't sit. You never sit in a place of like, okay, here's a struggle. Because the other thing, I don't want to send the impression that your life is perfect and you've never had any battles or struggles, because that is absolutely not the case.
Right.
But you don't sit in them.
Okay. I love that you said this. You're exactly right. And sometimes I don't understand how people are okay with accepting unhappiness or to be in a place of just, I guess unhappiness is the word. I just don't understand that. If I don't feel good about something, or if I am dreading kind of my daily routine, whether it's at a job or if there's a friend who I am just do not want to hang out with because they're toxic in my life, or a family member, I'm not going to just settle for that and be okay with it. I'm just not. I'm going to make changes. I'm not someone who is willing to, I know this sounds super cliche, but we have this one life. And I don't want to be the person who worked at a job that I hated for 35 years and then retired and then tried to live, but maybe I have enough in retirement to do some things that I want to do. I'm just not okay with that.
Yeah.
Not okay with complacency and just, I don't want that. I want more. I want to have freedom and do what I want with my life at any moment.
I know you also do this because back to this like really deep sense of trust in yourself. In NLP, there's a presupposition that everybody has all the resources they need already. What they need is access to those resources, right? Like within themselves. So, NLP, the job is not to fix anybody or that anybody's broken in any way. Like we all have within us everything we need to achieve what it is that we want to achieve and whatever those things are. And it's just learning how to access that. And so I know from being your friend for years that there will be times where I'll be struggling, even like with some type of pain. And you'll go like, what is that pain trying to tell you? Right? Like, oh, my stomach's upset. And you'll go like, well, what's that? Like, what's going on? Like, what is that trying to tell you? Like, I feel like you're really clear about that. Like you're always checking in with yourself and going,
yes,
what does this mean? Like, what's the message? I feel like now I'm doing the interview for you and I don't mean to, but.
No, Nikki, I'm so glad you brought that up. Truly. Because it's funny because even though I live my life in this way, I don't think about how to communicate all of this to other people. So this is good. You're helping me a lot. So I'm a firm believer that I am responsible for myself and my actions. And if my business is not going well, it's not because of the economy. It's not because, SEO messed up the algorithm of Instagram. No, I am a firm believer that if my business is waning, if I'm not booking clients, it's on me. it's because of something that I'm doing and that I need to fix. And where am I going wrong? And this is kind of like you said, with any sort of like illness or aches and pains. And I'm always like, okay, let me look at what this might mean that I need to change and what I need to do better. I just am a firm believer in taking responsibility. And I think part of a lot of this is, okay, I don't want to like say too much, put her on blast, but I have a parent who doesn't take responsibility and has not lived a realized life. And, I always have compassion and love when people are in that situation. And I also know that I do not want to be in that same situation.
Yeah.
And I think, maybe had I had two parents who lived their best life, I don't know that I would have learned everything I needed to for where I'm at now. I don't know. Maybe I would have. Maybe my parents could have lived their best lives and taught me how to live my best. I don't know.
Yeah. But there has been, there has been some stuff, right, in your life that has, I think, and this is something you and I relate to too, right? Of being able to look and go, that's not the life that I want for me. When we look at our upbringing and our parental figures, like that was not the life, and make different choices as a result.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. So here's my next question. What are your goals when it comes to having multiple streams of income?
Okay. So, gosh, I do love to work, but I love to work doing things that bring me joy. So when something no longer brings me joy, I'm always trying to think of what's next. So it's like the second that I start to feel burned out, like when I was a social worker and I started to feel burned out, I knew I needed to do something different. I don't just sit and stew in it for 20 years. The second I start to feel it, I'm like, okay, what's next? And when I was a social worker, I decided I was getting burned out and I wanted to start a nonprofit, which was at the time really dumb because that was just more social work. But I started a nonprofit and then got burned out from that. And shoot, Nikki, back up. What was
so? That's okay. All right. So the question is, what are your goals when it comes to having multiple streams of income? Okay.
So I do love to work. It's not that I never want to work. I just want my time and my freedom to do what I want when I want to do it. I know I've said this twice now, so clearly this is very important to me. I love passive income. But passive income isn't always passive.
Right.
But that is basically my goal, is to no longer trade time for money at all within the next couple of years, which means not having, consistent clients and people to respond to all the time and to make money in my sleep. And so my goals really are, a lot of it is real estate based and teaching based with courses, photography courses. And I love doing both of those things right now. So that feels really good to me. So my current goals are passive income through teaching and through real estate.
Yeah.
Within the next couple of years.
And just to clarify for you, for real estate, it's commercial real estate.
Correct. Commercial multifamily. At this point, commercial multifamily apartment buildings. Yes.
Yeah.
And I have a property manager who handles everything. So like the first building that we bought, I did put some time into it. I painted it. Like my tenants think that I'm the painter. They have no idea that I own the building. And it has become very passive in that I only make decisions if we're spending above a certain amount on a, rehab cost, or if there is a particularly sensitive issue with a tenant, my property manager might ask if it's okay that he's going to, make a move or whatever. But other than that, it's very, very passive.
Okay.
I love it.
Right. So this idea of you want to spend time on the things that you are passionate about and that you no longer want to trade time for money. How do you know when you're achieving the goal?
I really function on feelings. And so I know this sounds crazy, but some people, when they have goals, they have lists written out. and they have vision boards, and they have, I go on based on feelings, and I do use words. Like I have said to you before that I want to be retired and living off of passive income by January of 2024. Like that's a very concrete, specific goal for me. But I move forward based on feelings. So I might get to January 2024 and it feels really good what I'm doing currently, even though maybe I'm still doing a photo shoot here and there, or maybe, so I move forward so much on feeling that concrete goals for me are always ebbing and flowing. And it just, I don't know, it just is something that, well, I think will always be evolving. And what might in my head sound great for January 2024, I might get there and be like, oh my gosh, I found this new income stream and I really love doing it. And even though it doesn't feel like work, I'm still working. So, but passive income in the background of if I do find some new endeavor, or if I decide I want to start doing 10 photo shoots a month again, who knows?
Yeah.
I always want to have that passive income coming in. So when I am at an age where physically it doesn't make sense for me to be slinging a camera or doing podcasts anymore, or, I don't know.
Yeah.
I still have this passive income coming in through real estate.
Yeah.
It's not performative either. I will say that's something that I love. I feel like it's a nice combination because what I do with photography and you're this, I know it's like this for you too. And most entrepreneurs, we have to be very present on social media. We have to show our face. We have to show up in our business. We have to network. We have to do all of the things that help us to book clients. And with real estate, it's so non-performative. I don't have to show my face on social media. I don't have to be getting people to like me, even though I love when people like me. It's, so it's a nice balance for me to have this sort of business that is not run on how many likes I have and how many shares I have and how many clients I have. It's a nice balance.
Yeah. I know I've shared with you too, that is definitely one of my goals too, is to have a stream of income that is in no way tied to me and who I am, that it doesn't matter. Like it's, yeah. So I totally get that.
I will say though, I think this is important, is that the skills that I have, my superpowers that I have used to build my photography business, to build my courses, and to build, being a podcast host and real estate, I'm using the same skill sets throughout. It's not like, okay, I'm going to do this extra income stream and all of a sudden I'm super organized and I'm great with accounting. That is not the case. So I think it's really important when you are looking for multiple income streams to partner with people, or to have people on your team who have the skill sets that you don't. Yeah. So for example, I have with my real estate business, I have a business partner who I work with on the podcast, and we have very opposite skill sets, and we come together just so perfectly, and we are able to bring to the table exactly what we need to make a business run. I have learned amazing customer service, an amazing client experience, how to provide all of that, how to design website and PDF and materials. I have now transitioned all of that into this real estate business, whereas my business partner is so great at producing and managing and organizing and numbers and analyzing. So I really think it's important to always make sure that you're staying in your lane with your skill set if you're going to have these multiple streams.
I think that what you just said right there is probably the biggest golden nugget of everything, right? Is that it isn't about trying to step outside of your expertise. It's about bringing your expertise to whatever it is that you're going to do, and really trusting. Again, I'm going to keep going back to this word, trust. I know I'm putting this word in your mouth, but I just feel like that is so in alignment with you, is this idea of that you really trust your skill set. that you'll figure it out. And again, you bring in partners when you need, when you need their skill set, their expertise.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And when I have left my lane, it has not worked. It has been really important for me to stay focused on the things that I know I'm really great at and not try to stray from that. Because when I have, it has not worked out.
Do you have an example that comes to mind for you about that?
Yes. I don't know if you remember this, but I decided I was going to be making portfolio boxes. So when people purchase,
I totally remember these.
Yeah.
Yes.
So before I was really focused on personal branding, which is digital photos, I did portraits where you would get these beautiful matted images and it would come in a box. And I couldn't find the box that I wanted online. I had a vision for it and I decided I was going to mass produce and distribute them. And oh my God, it was such a disaster. No. I hate even ordering and dealing with prints. So what made me think that it would make sense for me? And again, I'm not the most organized. I'm not the most detail oriented when it comes, managing a whole shipping production and building these boxes. I thought me and my makeup artist were going to build them in my garage. Did not work out. Wasted quite a bit of time and money on that.
Yeah. But there was still this idea of you're willing to take the risk, right?
Yes.
You are willing to take risks and fail.
Yeah. But it's funny because I knew in my gut, I should have listened to myself. I knew that was not the best use of my time or skill set but I think one of my faults is I'm a little bit stubborn and sometimes even if I know, I decide I'm going to do something and then even if I kind of know that it's probably not going to work out, I try anyway because I want to prove myself wrong. And I don't know, it's silly. So,
well, again, we all have failures. Nobody's life is perfect, right?
True.
We all go down avenues that we realize.
But it's such a learning process though, when I do fail. And that's the thing. I'm not blaming this portfolio boxing not working on anybody except myself. And I'm learning from it. I learned a million things throughout that process. So it was okay that I went through that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. That's funny. I haven't thought about it in a long time though. Okay. So, here's my next question, and we're going to wrap this up because I know we're getting to the hour is how do you know it's time to pay attention to this, this idea of multiple stream income life? How do you know it's time to pay attention?
Anytime you're starting to think about, one, making more money. I think let's just say this. I think it's always smart to have multiple income streams, always. Mm-hmm. Whether or not you're thinking about it, I think it's time to start thinking about it. And if you have a current business, how can you kind of expand that business into a different type of income stream? Do you feel like you're an expert in your field and maybe you could do some sort of online product or course or workshops or something? I'm always thinking about how I can utilize what I've built and expand it into different directions. So if you're someone who's feeling maybe a little restless in what you're doing, if you're wanting more income and you're just not sure how to, if you feel like you've maximized what you've got right now, it's really important to look at what else could you possibly be doing? Look outside of the box, talk with friends, talk with people. What other ideas can you brainstorm together? You and I do that all the time on Voxer. It's okay, I want to look at expanding a course. I want to make a new course. And you and I talk through what is another possibility. Mm-hmm. So anytime you're feeling just kind of stagnant or stuck, and also thinking about, is what you're currently doing what you want to be your only income stream for the rest of your life? And if that's not the case, it's important to start looking at what other options you do have.
There's another, I think, huge gold nugget right there is when you look at what you're doing right now, is that what you want to do the rest of your life to make money? Mm-hmm. And if not, might be time to start thinking about what else
And if something happened to you in this moment right now, doing, your current business, and something happened to you, you got injured, you got sick, would your income cease? Do you no longer have income? And if that's the case, it's really important to start thinking about other income streams.
So the last question is, how do you know when to stop?
I don't know, because I'm still so kind of full speed ahead, I guess. Although again, I'm a recovering workaholic. And even though I'm moving forward with many things right now, it doesn't feel like it's taken over my life in the sense where I'm spinning out of control anymore. And at the beginning of this, you asked me, what was it that people needed to be prepared for if they were going to live a day in your shoes or whatever? And the first thing I said was chaos, unorganized, and I'm kind of kicking myself for saying that, because that was my old ways. That was how I used to live. In these last 2 years, I've really been focusing on not living like that anymore, and slowing down and prioritizing and saying no, and not living that kind of life of chaos. And that I don't know that I'll ever stop, but again, it goes back to a feeling. If I start to feel out of control again, and if I start to feel the chaos creeping back in again, that's when I know I need to take a look at what is happening and what do I need to change. If I don't have a sense of peace and feel this sort of I keep using the word freedom. And when I say freedom, for me, it's freedom of time and freedom of choice to be just living my life, how I want.
Yeah.
Day to day. If I stop feeling those things, then I know I need to stop, I guess.
Yeah. That's
stop my course and change my course.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much. We're going to move into this little section, a little something extra. So I have some questions so people can get to know you on a personal level, although I feel like you've been very personal and revealing. Who inspires you?
There's so many people inspire me. You're, of course, I'm going to say you, of course, you inspire me all the time. I think back to when we first started our friendship and just what our goals were. And we've said this before, because our goals are different now than what they were before, in that they're bigger. they're bigger. And that wasn't that long ago. Both of us have achieved, a lot in a short amount of time. You obviously inspire me. My mentor inspires me as well. She came from, she dropped out of high school and always felt sort of uneducated. And she has built herself just the most incredible business. Again, her name's Sue Bryce, and she is, she has inspired me so much. Yeah, so she definitely inspires me.
Yeah.
And, anyone who is willing to take a chance at making their life better, to me, is inspiring.
Yeah.
There's nothing more frustrating than someone who is not even attempting to make change, even though they're just not happy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just bothers me. I just want to, and people have to want it for themselves, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm always inspired by people who make change in order to achieve happiness.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Well, what's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you? I'm dying to know your answer to this question.
Are you going to say roller derby?
No, I wasn't. I love when you said it though. Tell everybody that.
I used to play roller derby in Detroit. So that was fun. Got my ass kicked, but I loved it. And I know you already talked about travel.
Haven't seen you or haven't met you. You're pretty petite. You're not the biggest girl,
no.
For roller derby.
Oh yeah.
But I see you with weren't they mint green skates?
No. I wore mint green a lot, but I had my derby skates were black. They're my sporty roller derby skates.
Sometimes
I do have.
I know mint green is your.
Yeah, I have a million mint green things. My new skates that I just got that are not sporty, they're iridescent pink, mint green mixed. So you may have seen those.
That's so funny. Okay. So what's something that's exciting going on in your business and or in your life right now?
Okay. So we have 10 acres of land that we purchased here in Michigan, and we remodeled a house, which was very exciting on the land. And part of that is we are going to be growing our own food. So we're creating a huge garden, which is so exciting to me. And I'm a little nervous because I'm not someone who normally has a green thumb. I come from a family of green thumbs, and I did not get it. But there is a piece in my life right now that is going to allow me to focus on growing this food. And I know that might sound really lame, but oh, Nikki, I am so excited about it. I'm very, very excited about it.
I'm excited for you too, because I know like what you like to eat. So you growing your own food, it feels so in alignment with you.
I can't wait. Can't wait for my kids to be able to pick their own cucumbers and peppers and tomatoes. Yeah. It's so funny because if I would have said that's what's exciting in my life, if you would have told me that's what I was going to tell you 10 years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, right. Like, we went from living in the city to 10 acres and, and then the lake and the lake house. And
yeah,
so all of that's very, everything in my life right now, I feel like I've just really come full circle to thinking back about being really in debt and being a social worker who just was wanting to change the world, but I was getting depressed and burned out. And to see where I'm at now is, I feel really proud. I feel really proud.
I'm proud of you. You should be. You've built a really beautiful, beautiful life and a beautiful family.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely. All right. So for people who haven't connected with you, how can a person listening right now connect with you? What's the best way?
I love Instagram. I'm an Instagram girl. It's just Nikki Closser, just my name. My website's nikkiclosser.com. My real estate website is dreamlifeinvestors.com. So if you're interested, we put together syndication deals for people who want to invest passively. So that's about it.
Lots of good things. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you, and I appreciate you being so candid and revealing about a lot of things that you shared, and this idea of, being able to really lean into, set your goals, move forward, don't worry about the what ifs, and look what happens. You build this really beautiful life with multiple streams of income. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay. For you as the listener, if we haven't connected yet, I also hang out on Instagram. I'm not there quite as much as Nikki. She's got lots of fun, cool stuff going on, but let's connect there or on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Do you know that saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words? There's another one that says, a story is worth 1,000 pictures. How impactful is it when you can bring a story into your conversations with people? It is absolutely the way to uplevel your influence and frankly, your income in your sales conversations, whether you're talking to prospects or whether you're talking to existing clients. You are invited to the upcoming masterclass, Storytelling for Business. It's happening April 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. Now, in this workshop, you are going to get the framework for crafting your stories. You're going to learn which stories you need to be ready to tell. And in the workbook, you are going to have an opportunity to really kind of suss out your own stories. You might not think you have stories to tell yet, or maybe you're not sure which stories to tell when, but you're going to know that by the end of the 3 weeks. You're going to have a workbook packed full of notes and stories for you to bring into your conversations. We would love to have you come be with us. And here's a special link that's going to save you, my podcast listeners, $200 off the registration when you go and register right now, yoursalesmaven.com/storytelling. So registration is only open for a couple weeks. So go and register right now at yoursalesmaven.com/storytelling. We would love to have you in there with us. I'll see you soon.